we have this safe relationship where you regulate, you connect, and then you can have deep conversations, you can discipline, you can have correction. But if you don't have the first two, it just
Yeah.
doesn't come. And
Oh,
that's
no.
where so much conflict happens. But I'm really proud of my kids. They know themselves really well. And when you raise strong-minded kids, they say no a lot.
Hello, and welcome to the Positively Healthy Mom podcast, where positive parenting meets well-being. I'm your host, Laura Ollinger, teen and young adult well-being coach and founder of Positively Healthy Coaching. I'm super excited to introduce you to Dr. Roseanne Hodge, who is a therapist, school psychologist, and leading expert in emotional regulation and nervous system health. She's the author of the upcoming book, which I cannot wait to dig into, The Dysregulated Kid, and founder of Regulation First Parenting, a movement helping parents rethink behavior through the lens of nervous system. So, Dr. Roseanne, welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be here, and I love your mission, and I think this is going to be a great conversation.
Absolutely. So let's just get started. So let's talk about what is nervous system dysregulation?
Yeah. So, I think everybody is hearing the word nervous system.
Yes.
And, I'm so excited because I've been working and supporting kids and parents and adults who have nervous system dysregulation for 3 decades. So, really simply, nervous system dysregulation is when the nervous system has a hard time shifting between a calm state and a stress state. So, if you think about it as we have what's called an autonomic nervous system, ANS, and our ANS is our stress management system, right? So when we are calm, we should be in a what's called parasympathetic state. Something stresses us, real or imagined, good or bad, you move up to a sympathetic dominant state. When you're in a chronic stress state or extreme stress state, you move into high levels of sympathetic dominance, fight, flight, or freeze. And what's happening in the world is I think people don't, they're using and abusing their nervous system. They don't know that a nervous system has actually a max capacity. So I talk about the nervous system as a stress cup. And so when we think about we add stress in our cup, right? And this is why we're all so stressed out, right? So we are not getting enough sleep, right? We're maybe on the go too much and we forget to eat, or we eat garbage, or we're fighting with our partner, or your kid has a hard time making friends, or they're spending too much on our device. Each one sort of adds little bits to the stress cup, right? It also could be great things. Your teens trying to get into college and they have so many choices, they're super stressed out by it, or they're invited to a lot of things and they don't know how to manage it. All these things, right, add to our stress cup. So when there's too much in our stress cup, what happens?
Overflows.
Overflow, right? So when we are not tending to the nervous system, stress just compounds and adds up, and we move into a constant state of dysregulation. Constant dysregulation 100% of the time is going to lead to something else, right? So it's going to lead to autoimmune issues, it's going to lead to mental health issues, it's going to lead to physical issues, skin problems, gut problems. Your body can't live in a constant stress state. And so when we're thinking about the nervous system, we're not really thinking about what can we do simply to regulate ourselves and pull stuff out of our stress cup. We're making it much harder than it has to be, which is why I'm on this whole mission of educating people about the importance of regulating first, that we have to regulate ourselves first as parents. Our kids need to regulate themselves first before you as a parent, before you're connecting, before
Right.
you're disciplining and correcting your kid, but also before we do treatments, before we do talk therapy and other things. When your body's in a dysregulated state, Laura, your frontal lobes go offline. You are not processing and accessing information. And I hope that's a big aha, especially when we think about teenagers, which are, they're juggling a lot and they're growing. And sometimes they get a bum rap as being crabby, and
Right.
that they're crabby or their system is overloaded and they haven't learned how to navigate that. I mean, this is where people are taught coping skills and they don't know how to use them. It's not they don't know how to use them, they can't access them because they're too dysregulated. So I
Yeah.
gave you a lot of things in there, but nervous system dysregulation is a hot topic because we're all feeling that way.
Right, right. And so I'm thinking this is just this universal problem. And I would like to add the idea, and I'd love to hear your feedback about how our devices are playing a role in this.
Yeah. Well, they play a role. I have a whole
Hmm.
chapter in my book called Device Dysregulation,
Okay.
because everybody wants to talk to me about it, Laura. So I
Mm,
don't believe devices are the worst thing on the planet. And
hmm.
I want to be the voice of practicality and
Yeah.
modern living. They
Yes.
are not going away.
Yeah.
So the real problem is we as Gen Xers, right? We didn't grow up with device. I mean, I had a bag cell phone, Laura, okay? Like,
Yeah.
those big ones that they
Oh,
use in the
yeah.
movie?
My dad had one of those. I never got to have one, but yes, I think they're cool. They look
Yeah,
neat.
yeah.
It's like a big
I was
walkie-talkie.
exactly. They look like a walkie-talkie, right?
Yeah.
So, we were here for the, when the iPhone became a thing and,
Mm.
right? And at first was it the BlackBerry became a smartphone and then quickly it
Oh,
was the
yeah.
iPhone.
Mhm.
So we didn't have so much access that fit into the palm of our hand. I mean,
Mm.
you rarely walk anywhere without seeing somebody in their phone in their hand,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it's there, it's an extension. So we feel ill-equipped on how to set boundaries and manage it. Now, the
Yeah.
bad part about devices is very clear. The research is very clear. You cannot be on your freaking device for 10 hours a day. You can't,
Right.
but they are, okay? So
Mhm.
we have to power down. I'll talk about that. The other bad news about devices is that what you're doing on your device makes a difference in mental health. So if you're passive scrolling,
Right.
it is associated with negative health. If you're doing social things, it actually is associated with positive health. I think
Mhm.
on the flip side of that, kids are missing a lot of social cues and they're not hearing tone and they're not hearing things. But that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah.
biggest problem with devices is we are ill equipped at setting boundaries around devices and in advance of device usage. And it's just such a point of conflict. Holy cow. Everybody.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So speaking of devices, I would love to transition over to the device. The cool thing that you showed me before we started recording that helps with nervous system dysregulation. So can you show us and,
Yeah.
and talk about it?
Yeah. So I was just showing Laura in advance that I use something I have a device called PEMF. And PEMF is a technology based on frequency medicine that was actually developed by NASA for the astronauts to improve their cellular health.
Oh,
And
cool.
so, it's pretty cool, right? And
Yeah.
so, it uses pulsed electromagnetic frequency at low hertz, under 200 hertz. And so there's all kinds of devices. These are FDA regulated devices. There are
Mhm.
mats. There are ones that you go and sit in an office. There's little ones. There's only a few little ones like mine. And so I had the big one in the office where people would come in and they would come in for everything from ADHD to head injury. I did a lot of work with kids with pandas, and OCD. And so I'll talk about what it does. But what happened was, the primary result was calming. People would be much calmer, much more regulated. And so
Mm.
all of their symptoms would come down. When you regulate the nervous system, you
Mhm.
change the intensity, frequency, and duration of all problematic symptoms, right? So
Mm.
it doesn't mean they're eliminated. Sometimes it could be, but it starts bringing everything down because when the nervous system is activated, it can't do its job. It's going to take all your hormones. It's going to take your immune system. It's going to take your neurotransmitters. It's going to disrupt the microbiome, which is where
Mm.
neurotransmitters
Yeah.
are created.
In your gut. Yeah.
So yeah, and then your frontal lobes are offline, so you're a hot
Right.
mess. So people are like, "Oh, Roseanne, you're talking about me," as a mom or a
Mhm.
dad. And so PEMF does 3 things. It's really
Okay.
pretty cool. So 1, it is through frequency. It's coming in, it's sending a low hertz frequency. We've already identified the frequency. My device is very specific to I have one called stress and anxiety. So it addresses stress and anxiety and focus. And then I have an infections and toxins for all my people that struggle with autoimmune diseases and pandas and all those other things. And it has a Lyme disease. It has all of that built in based on
Oh,
protocol.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So, that's actually the one I have on. I'm an Epstein-Barr girl. I got Epstein-Barr when I was 17, and I always need to keep my Epstein-Barr in check because it will pop.
Mm. Yeah.
And I could go on and on and on and on about infections and the connection between mental health, but we know neuroinflammation is a big part of mental health. So what it does is it sends a frequency to the cells. It says, this is not what you want to do. This is unhealthy. And it comes in with a corrective frequency. And then the cells start functioning better and they become healthier, which is
Mm.
why NASA wanted it for the astronauts, right? And
Okay.
they had other things, I'm sure, in there because you can make all kinds of protocols. But these are the 2 devices that worked best for the people that follow me. And then the next thing it does is it pulls you right into a parasympathetic state.
Oh,
And
cool.
the more yeah, so cool, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm in it now. I've had a rough week and you're
Yeah.
never gonna know it because
Yeah.
I'm, always working myself into a parasympathetic state. And then lastly, it improves detoxification, so it's gonna lower neuroinflammation. And so
Mm.
these are the things that I see that are wreaking havoc in the world of mental health. Now, this is a device that, mine is portable. You pop it in your pocket, has a fanny pack. It's incredible. I mean, I'm using it with kids with their, parental supervision. Mine has a very interesting way that it is. It holds 6 protocols and it has a 1 hour, 2 hour, and 8 hour because guess what? You can sleep with it. So there's different reasons why people use it. My cats use it. My husband uses it. I have elderly people using it. It's really, what are you looking to do? And we know that cellular health is all
Mhm.
about longevity and helping you live a better quality of life. But
Mhm.
also know the greatest threat to our health and the number one reason why people go to any physician visit is stress. And we're
Yes.
just walking around with stress cups. So, as much as I love this device, feel free to buy one, listen to my stuff about it. Really, what I wanna do and what my book is about, The Dysregulated Kid, not to jump
Mhm.
into that, because I
Yeah, that's
want
fine.
them to be accessible. So, my
Mhm.
book is about what is free that you can do
Yeah.
because there are so many free things we could do that reset our nervous system. The
Mhm.
beauty of the device, it happens quick. You pop it in your pocket, right? So I just want everybody to know I do everything all day long. I am never just relying on this. I do a incredible amount of things, including Tai Chi and breath work and prayer and guided visualization. I don't even know I'm doing these things. Like, I just find myself doing them
Mhm.
because I am super ridiculous high level of the things that I'm doing and
Mhm.
doing an extraordinary amount of things related to my book launch and just I'm in a transition place in my life. I'm a mom of a teenager and a young adult. Like, I got real world stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I hear you.
you the
Yeah.
water pipe broke and was flying everywhere, like just
Mhm.
everyday life. But
Yeah.
I know that I have to focus on regulating myself for me to
Mhm.
be a wonderful mom, to have
Yes.
patience, to be a great friend. And it's so important to me, but it really does allow me to do things at like a freaky superhuman level, just FYI.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna be sure to add the link to this in the show
Yeah.
notes so people can figure out how to access it. But what I wanna talk about is what are the costs of being dysregulated? And we know we talked about kind of physical health detrimental, effects. But what are the costs on relationships when people
Yeah.
are just walking around dysregulated and specifically like parents and teens?
Yeah. I think there's such a great cost. I think there's a cost not only in the relationship, but how you feel as the person who's dysregulated, whether you're the
Mm,
adult, you're the child. You feel like garbage. You feel
yeah.
ashamed. You feel
Mm,
stuck in that cycle because
mhm,
the way that, dysregulation works, right? So the more you dysregulate, the more your nervous system will dysregulate. The more
Mm,
you regulate, the more it
mhm,
will regulate. And
mm.
the more you're regulated, the more you become actually the nervous system people attune to,
Yes.
especially your children. So, if you think about it, like think about like a favorite teacher, right?
Mhm.
I think about those teachers that were just so like, "Roseanne,
Yeah.
honey,"
So
they were so
loving,
soft.
yeah. Mhm,
Yeah. And everything about them. I don't remember what she said to me, Mrs. Thurman, in the 3rd grade, but I
mhm,
knew she was just had a soft presence because
mm,
she was regulated. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So, I just remember her as one of my favorite teachers, like, of all
Mhm.
my teachers, and she also got me. But when we are so dysregulated, and the cost of it in this relationship is you come in, you approach in a reactive state, right? You're trying to parent from reactivity. Your child's
Mhm,
nervous system is like danger, danger, threat. I'm going to react too. It doesn't know another way to react. It is biology. We cannot demand that people come out of a dysregulated state. And this is what
mhm,
happens. Then we say our teen or child is being disrespectful. They're being manipulative. They're not working to their potential. All these things. Let me tell you something. I've worked with thousands of kids, teenagers. I've also worked with thousands of failure to launch young adults as
mm.
old as in their 30s.
Yeah,
Nobody wants that.
yeah,
But yet they get so stuck that you feel overwhelmed, like I'm just drowning in overwhelm, and it's just so easy to happen. So the cost is really quite great, and nobody needs to be perfect here. Like this idea that we
yeah.
have, like, so bad, you know?
I have like
Um,
an 80% rule. That's
Me
kind of
too.
my blanket rule for everything. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
a good old B minus, come on,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's enough. Yeah.
So but, like, social media makes us feel like we have people everyone else is doing better, and that's a
Mhm.
message we as adults feel and kids, like and it's
Right.
so false. Because let me tell you people, I know everybody's business, and it's rare people all got it together, so don't
Yeah.
try to pretend.
Right.
And that's really terrible for your kids because perfectionism is leading to anxiety and
Oh,
OCD and fear.
so much. Yes,
Yeah,
so much. That
yeah,
pressure to perform, the overwhelming, that's right my sweet spot of kids that I work with, like trying to get into the best college and trying to get into the best fraternity or sorority, trying to get the best job or the best internship,
yeah.
be maybe even a college athlete. I mean, this is the story of the kids that I work with. So it's like this overwhelming pressure that the parents feel to like have the best kids, and then the overwhelming pressure that the kids feel to perform up to the parents' expectations, but then also just to feel proud of who they are in their own world so then they can post about it and feel good about themselves.
It's so absolutely true, and,
Mm,
40% of college freshmen leave, and the
yeah.
number one reason is mental health
Mhm.
because there was this documentary, like, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, it was like The Race to Nowhere, and so this, let me take every AP class, let me take every honor class, and these kids are taking on, not just the emotional drain and the loss of, like, downtime, they're taking on financial pressures because what I saw
Mhm.
is a lot of parents were pushing their kids, but they're not paying for these colleges. And as somebody
Mm,
who lives in the Northeast, which has, some of the best schools in America and,
mhm.
the titans of industry send their kids to our private high schools. They're right here in the
Mhm.
Northeast.
Mhm.
Billionaires send their kids to these boarding schools where I live.
Okay.
And the level of education is incredible here, and
Mhm.
guess what? The state schools are just as good, and so to force your child for what? Like, what? To take on three,
Right.
$400,000 worth of debt.
Mhm.
And, it's really become like when I grew up, we had, the designer jeans came out, Jordache jeans, Sergio
Oh, yeah.
Valente,
Yeah.
and it became a thing. So colleges about 15 years ago became a thing, name brand
Mm,
colleges. You have to just be more practical. People that don't have money, they think in practicalities, right?
right.
So where is your kid gonna be happiest?
Mm,
Where is it going to lead to a vocation? Not a
mhm.
job.
Yeah.
And, focus on what they love and, make sure your kid is being balanced. But guess what? You're role modeling it too, which I
For
think is
sure.
the missing sauce in this, in this
Yes.
missing ingredient in this sauce, because we are overwhelmed. People are
Yes.
so overwhelmed. And wherever I go, no matter what age, whether it's a teenager, a young adult, somebody who's 80, somebody's a mom with 3 kids, they all are like, "Teach me about the nervous system. I am dysregulated.
Mm,
What can I do?"
yeah.
And I think we can't ignore that,
Yeah.
and I really feel for the pressures, my
Mhm.
kids are, like, very different kinds of kids. They're like old
Yeah,
people.
that's actually who I wanna ask you about, but I
Yeah,
I do think that there's this piece that maybe is another show, another time, where it's just this, like, letting go or this disengaging from this pressure to perform and, like, getting
yeah,
out of society and just being an authentic family with your authentic self and make the choices that are are best in alignment with your values and what's, doable for you, but, let's
100%.
if it's okay, I would love to do a little personal conversation. Like, how are
Sure.
you as a mom? Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that relationship and how does this work that you do show up in your
Yeah,
role as a
yeah.
mom?
Oh, I love talking about my kids, and they know it. So my max is the dysregulated kid. That's what my book is, and
Mm.
unfortunately, my max at 22 months was bitten by a tick, and it
Oh.
changed our life, and
Mm.
he went through decades, he's of the neuroinflammation, and, we had every means and availability to be with the top experts. We did everything we could. We never went to anybody who wasn't a specialist, who wasn't the leading specialist, and
Mm.
yet horrible road. And I think anybody who's, got neurodivergent kids, kids with stuff, they understand. Like, this
Mhm.
is an interesting thing. So I also married into a 100% dyslexic family who's also
Oh,
intellectually gifted.
okay.
So almost everybody's intellectually gifted, and
Yeah.
100% of everybody's dyslexic. So my boys are dyslexic.
Mhm.
And so as a mom, I had to really focus on regulating myself because I had a really dysregulated kid, and I was scared that, why isn't this getting better? And so I really had to work on that and just be like, this is the path of what I got to do. Um,
Mhm.
my kids are curious. I am my mother who's with Jesus. Her name was Philomena, and she was like an Italian Beth Dutton. If anybody watches
Oh,
Yellowstone,
yes. Yellowstone. Yep, I'm with oh, yeah. She's
okay.
a hard, tough cookie.
Oh, yeah, people were scared of her, but she
Yeah.
was just the most unbelievably present, loving mother. Like,
Mm.
she loved you and would have done anything for you, just like
Mhm.
Beth Dutton. So, but
Mhm.
she was scary. We used to have apartments, and she would collect rents, and they didn't care that she was 5'1" Italian lady, like, they were pooping in their pants. So,
Yeah.
I grew up with this power source, like, she was that kind of power, and
Okay.
so I knew 100% that I was safe. I knew that no matter what I would do in life, if I got in trouble, no matter what, my parents would have my back.
Mhm.
And so that is powerful when you
Yeah.
create that kind of safety. So
Mhm.
I was a very confident person, and I never doubted my confidence. And people would, like, this is a different time. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like, "Oh, girls can't do that." And I was like, "I don't know who you're talking to,"
Yeah.
but, like, people say that, and you're like, "What?" Or people would come to my beautiful house and go, "What does your husband do?" And I'm like, "I'm Dr. Roseanne." Like,
Yeah.
"Why are you asking what my husband does?" Like,
Right.
"Hello?"
Yeah.
So I had this strength. So I pass it on to my kids. My kids, when they would go to, we homeschooled, we went to school, private schools. We're just too different to be there's nothing wrong with public school. It's just
Mhm.
not for us, right? We're
Yeah.
very holistic. So we really have very strong family values. I'm also first generation American from Italy. So we very much are an Italian family
Mhm.
and living the sort of Italian principles in America. And my kids are old souls. Like, they know how to
Mm.
say no to things. They understand their expectations. I also really fostered independence for them. They are
Mhm.
not perfect kids. We have this safe relationship where you regulate, you connect, and then you can have deep conversations. You can discipline, you can have correction, But if you don't have the first two, it just
Yeah.
doesn't come, and
Oh,
that's
no.
where so much conflict happens, but I'm really proud
Mm.
of my kids. They know themselves really well, and when you raise strong-minded kids, they say no a lot.
Yeah. It's like a double-edged sword. You're like, "Ah, I
Yeah,
wanted you to
yeah.
just say that outside of the house, not inside of the
Yeah,
house."
like, "I'm not going there," like, "I'm not doing that,"
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
and so, yeah, they're just really cool, like, my youngest one, my mother was like every Italian, myth or idea about, like, she could cook anything, it was, like, level 10. So I am, like, love to cook, but my youngest is, like, rock star, like, he makes his own sauces from scratch, like, he does this, he does that. So, just to see his independence and
Mhm.
like, "Hey, you were busy, so I just made dinner," and I'm like, as a young teenager, he started cooking independently with us watching him because we have a gas stove at 6, but by
Uh-huh.
10, he
Mhm.
didn't need supervision anymore on a stove.
Mm.
So,
That's
there's a
amazing.
self-confidence there, and
Yeah.
when you create little moments of power and self-confidence, your kids make good decisions when you're not around, and
Mm.
that's what I wanted. So, they see me working all the time to regulate myself. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Hey," I do tai chi all day. They see me doing breath works. I'm very into prayer, and they see it, and I
Mhm.
demonstrate it, and when I'm having a hard time, again, this was a rough week with me for something related to business, I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god." And Max came home, I think it was Monday afternoon, and I'm, like, laying on the couch like, "Oh, I've had such a rough day, I'm gonna watch 16 Candles. You wanna watch 16 Candles with me?" And he was like,
I love it.
"No, but you need a hug." And I was like, "I
Oh,
so need a hug, Max. I've had a rough
yeah.
day." And he's like,
Yeah.
"You don't normally say that, so let me give you a hug." And I was like,
Yeah.
couldn't have been prouder because I was
Yes.
like, "That's exactly what I would have done for you, and you're
Mhm.
now seeing that. So monkey see, monkey do." You
Yes,
know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yes. So that's the perfect way to kinda wind down and bring
Yeah.
people, the attention to your book. So how can people
Yeah.
find your book? Tell us,
Yes.
little if there's anything else specific you wanna talk about with it.
Yeah, I'm so proud of this book. I'm so excited. It's really my antidote to the dysregulation crisis. And it's called The Dysregulated Kid. It's the parenting playbook for helping your child find calm in a chaotic world. And it
Mm,
literally is the exact thing of what to say and do for yourself and for your
mm,
child. And it's just so easy. There's no way to
mhm,
not to regulate yourself unless you don't do the simple things, right? From breath work and prayer and different things. And I just
mhm,
make it so easy. And, this is such an important piece. I really do want to see this like, buying one for yourself, buying one for your teacher. I
mm,
have book clubs, like, so that you could get a little posse. Because when you're parenting, I think one of the best things is to have 2 or 3 friends where you're in alignment on things.
right,
Like, I have some friends where there's no devices Monday to Thursday. So it makes it so easy. There's no argument
mhm,
because we're in a little pod.
mhm.
So I just think those pieces can be helpful. So, but thank you for allowing me to talk about my book. I couldn't be more proud of it, and it's just so. I took the science of the nervous system, and I just made it so easy for
I
everybody.
love it. I can't wait to read it, and I know that's kind of like what you're so well known for is taking these this is like super, super duper complex scientific stuff, but you just like boil it down, make it really digestible, really easy, like just kind of simple for the busy mom brain to be able to digest and take these pieces and follow the steps and be able to become more regulated because at the end of the day, what a better world this would be if we were all
Yeah.
much more regulated. So I love your topic, and this conversation has been so helpful, so informative. So thank you for your time, Dr. Roseanne.
Oh, thank you.
When you get a chance, please go to the show notes and click on the link ratethispodcast.com/tphmom to give my podcast a rating and review. And if this episode resonates with you, be sure to share it with your mom friends who are going through the same things. Be sure to tune in for next week's conversation. Until then, keep up the good work.